So I woke up one morning, breath stinking, still tired. The night before had me on a high. I'm still feeling a little wired, but it's Friday and I'm starting to think about plans for the weekend. I look over, see my baby still sleeping. So I hopped in the shower, brushed my teeth, washed my face. Looked back out, found my baby still asleep in the same place. I gave her a kiss on the forehead and her face managed to smile. I said, "How long you been up?" She said, "For a while." Then she said, "Honey, I think I'm going into labor." I got up and shook my head a couple times and asked her to do me a favor. I told her it wasn't good to be playing games like that. She then said she only wanted to see my facial expression and how I would react. I said, "That's all fine and dandy, but test me some other way. You know, saying things like that could come back and haunt you one day." But in my mind, I thought, what's the chance of that happening? In fact, I broke the tension in the room when I smiled and started laughing. And we then kissed for a minute as she lay on my chest, looked at the clock. It's 8 o'clock. I've got to start getting dressed. No time for breakfast as I headed out the door. Told my baby, "I love you," kissing her lips once more. Now I noticed that while I was getting dressed, my baby warmed the car with almost no delay. It was cold out today. And she wanted me to go to work warm the whole way. Aww, how sweet. Now see, that's the type of woman you want to make sure you keep. Look on the seat. Well, look at that. She even packed my lunch. And as I was looking back, I was kind of shook at the fact that halfway down the driveway before I even reached its summit, I noticed my baby again clutching at her stomach. Now I thought to myself, she just doesn't quit. I continued on to work and thought no more of it. It was boring at work and the day was going by slowly, so I ended up having this dream about me and my baby becoming one in matrimony. I even slept long enough to think of a plan on how to propose. I mean, after all, I did have love right up under my nose. I mean, a lady who loves me tender and precious like I'm the last petal on a rose. I mean, though years apart, age didn't matter to us. It was what was in our hearts. It didn't matter nowadays anyways when time or not. We knew we didn't have to be the same age to make a family start. The foundation we laid as friends first gave us a pretty good head start. So anyway, I woke up listening to the sound of a telephone ring, not knowing that this call would later change everything. But it was my baby calling me right on schedule, saying it was cute hearing me answer the phone all professional. But something was wrong in her voice. And before I got the chance to ask, she told me she was going into labor and for me to get home fast. Now I paused and then once again shook my head, but before I could say anything, the phone went dead. Now I thought for a moment, I couldn't just leave my job, but was that more important? Hell no, of course not. I mean, yeah, true, she played before, but there was something about her voice tone that made me leave the office in a frenzy and a rush to get home. Now back in the car, I dialed the house using the cell phone, thinking to myself, please, baby, please hurry up and pick up the phone. There's ringing and ringing, and there's silence, and I hear it click. The cell phone hung up. I swear, of all the times for it to do this, so I stepped on the gas. I was already doing 80, cutting cars off and driving real crazy. I was getting closer to the house now. Good thing there were no cops in sight, because by then I wasn't stopping at stop signs and I ran just about every other light. Now coming down the street, I lost control and started to swerve. Got control back for a second, then crashed up on the curb. Then it was time to make a decision. So I jumped out the car, leaving the keys right in the ignition. I didn't care. I left the car right there, sideways, cut the corner and sprinted as fast as I could up the driveway. Now inside the house, I was seeing nothing but red. Found my baby on the couch. A pillow propped her head. The baby was coming early. Her water was broke. She said she had started to dilate some time ago. So simultaneously thinking about being lost without my baby and having to live life alone, I swear I tripped over everything trying to make it to the telephone. Looking at all that blood on the floor almost made me myself fold. I finally got an answer though. Hello, 911? Oh my God. Yeah, okay, I'll hold. I waited on the phone for about 10 seconds, waiting for someone on the other end to start asking me questions. But all I heard was silence, and I thought to myself, I gotta get off this phone and take my baby to get some help. I was a nervous wreck. I was unable to wait anymore, so I dropped the phone, got my baby, headed out the door, carried her back to the car, trying to remain as calm as possible, slammed down the gas, racing towards the nearest hospital. I must have been waiting for what seemed like 7 or 8 hours. I was hungry, tired, plus I needed a shower, but I wasn't leaving until I knew my baby would be all right. I don't care if I have to stay here stinking for the rest of the night. All I was thinking about was, God, please don't take my baby, waiting anxiously for the results while the ticking of that daggone clock drove me crazy. The doctor came out. He said there were some complications. He said they couldn't save the newborn, And now my baby had a slim chance of making it. Wait. I don't understand. Wait, you've got to be kidding me, right? I mean, this has got to be some kind of joke. The doctor reassured me, though, things were okay, though, that there was still hope. He was confident everything was fine and to keep up my head, but just then a siren went off. Code red, code red. People were rushing everywhere from one place to the next, but they were all going right to room 103, the room my baby was at. Now, thinking the worst, I again started to pray, but I was so distraught, I didn't know what to say. I just sat there and broke down right there in my seat, letting the tears roll down my face and drop on my feet. I tried my best to be optimistic and keep positive thoughts, but it was hard to envision because one life I had already lost. So after a few minutes of swearing, I managed to get my bearings. I would tell myself, okay, she's gonna pull through. She's strong, she's a fighter. But I hope this doctor doesn't come out and make me a liar. And then the negative thoughts in my mind were beginning to compile because she had been in there struggling to survive for quite a while. I continued to wait. The hospital grew quiet. The sound of a door eventually it broke the silence. First a surgeon, then a few nurses stepped out. Finally, after a minute or two, the same doctor crept out. Now here I am, hardly able to think and on the brink of a nervous breakdown, and I got to watch him walk over to me with an awkward smile, his facial expression in slight disbelief as he starts to succumb in grief. And I wasn't ready for all that, which broke my spirit. I was doing my best not to listen. I swear I didn't want to hear it, and my eyes had already started to glisten. So if you're going to come over and tell me anything, because I know you know this is worrying me, tell me you did the job clean and professional like you said you do. Tell me it was a successful surgery. Please, I'm begging you. He managed composure and slowly came over. And it's like I already knew where this was headed. He then spoke these dreaded words to me out his mouth. Sir, we did all we could do. And that's the last thing I remember right before I blacked out. And I woke up in here. Wait, where am I?
See, there are certain certainties that are certainly come to be. And no matter his disguise, I know the devil is a lie when he's demanding and double daring me to die on a double. Declaring the debt of death is definitely due. It's on the bubble. I guess that means I'm in trouble waters. But if hope floats, I hope boats of families and friends as a means to an end begin to file in, holding Bibles. Silenced upon their arrival as they try to cope with me about to be someone's test subject before I meet the cousin asleep and death's coming. See, I'm wondering, is this meant for me to be mentally prepared for the symphony upstairs, fully aware of the bedridden period before death? BPBD is upon me and my mind's wandering as I breathe calmly with death's grip upon me. These memories etched in my heart like wet concrete, and it dawns on me before I take my final breath. Final steps off to whatever revelation, before all my minuses and pluses make its final equation. If the doctor makes the statement that I need to be heavily sedated, that it's better to be intubated, who's gonna make the decision to keep me living? Who gets to decide and justify if the only movement I'm able to make is with my eyes? Who gets to decide to pull the plug as long as they're doing it with love? Who will be next to my bedside watching when my body stops responding to treatments and my heart rate starts decreasing? Limbs going numb as I start to succumb to what this has come to. My increasingly disintegrating health that's causing my lungs to swell. And I'm unable to yell for the nurse cause this tube in my throat hurts from being intubated. I wonder who will be there jaded, praying, waiting patient with high anxiety. Laying by my bedside and the company beside me, weeping as they're reaching for that string that rings to the nurse's station. They start pulling and tugging, while others are waiting, equally jaded, patient and hugging, trying to control them and console them and hold in signs of grief. Wondering, will I dodge the bullet as the siren from that machine starts to screech? Then someone comes inside and presses on the machine a couple times to comfort their minds that close to flatline. but I survive and I'm able to dodge that bullet for now. But I wonder, who's gonna be around? Who's gonna wanna sign up for that task is what I ask. Who's gonna be praying as the pastor starts saying, we're all just passing through. We all have an outstanding debt to death, and it has to be paid. So it's best you call anyone who matters to pay. Respects, cause this is what predicates being laid to rest. You better not wait. You better not wait. It's best not to. See, the Reaper is a frequent sleeper in this hospital, and it's possible very soon. Our next obstacle, for what it's worth, will be to converse about folks forming lines in queue, sitting in the pew at the church. See, this is what hurts. Before they start cutting me open with a bone saw, gutted remains. I know my life has known flaws that were public domain, but I hope you tell them dying alone wasn't my decision. Before they start talking about my religion, and before the vision of them making that Y incision on my chest, before you pay those respects when I'm slain in death and I'm laid to rest, hands crossed in death, right hand across the left, before you send your regards with flowers and cards, I hope you tell them dying alone wasn't my decision. Before I'm riding in a tinted hearse, my soul next on the guest list, I only hope I had time to attend to this poetic business first that I was blessed with. And if everyone gets a last request, then my death wish before I'm breathless when death hits is this: when they do my in loving memory, and you'll remember me, loving memories, whether friend or enemy. I hope folks say they love what was in me before my curtains close and I expose woes to those close to me. The headline, before my eternal bedtime, reads 5 words. 5 words I want on my tombstone. 5 things I want to bestow it. He was a passionate poet, and he did not die alone.